was looking around, I thought we had a special guest with everybody, somebody that was actually important. We appreciate you all being here so much. Growing up in Arkansas, I have so many very fond memories traveling around the state, so many special events that I had the opportunity to take place with. Not too far from here, I was a Northside Grizzly and played in many ball games just right in this area. Played Little Rock Central, North Little Rock, and Little Rock Hall. We had great games, great rivalries. I was a senior when we played Horace Mann, and they had one of the best running backs in the state, John Richardson. John was not only a great running back, but John also was valedictorian in his class and was a tremendous athlete. I still remember the first time that I had the opportunity to tackle him. I heard he was great. I was down, I was getting ready to put the smack on him. I heard there was lots of oohs and ahs from the stands. And it was one of those situations that it actually made the highlight film. The only problem was, instead of the Northside Grizzly highlight film, it was the Horace Mann highlight film. John ran over me, he ran around me, he did everything. John and I later became teammates at the University of Arkansas. He was the first African-American Razorback football player on scholarship. While we were busy playing in the stands, while we were busy playing on the field, our parents were in the stands, taking a break from the day-to-day rigors of life. My parents' generation was the greatest generation. They'd gone through the Depression. They saved the free world in World War II. They were busy building America in the country that we have today, the greatest superpower of today, the greatest, freest country the world's ever known. They loved and they worked hard for their families. They loved their country and they loved America. My dad was a master sergeant in the Air Force for 20 years and was a waist gunner on B-17s during World War II. When he returned home from the war, he worked hard every day to provide for my mother, my brother, my sister, to make us a better life than one he had growing up during the Depression. I lost my father several years ago, and I often wonder what he would think if he were still alive as to the direction that the country's headed today. Today, our nation faces enormous challenges with our economy and our national security, as demonstrated by the recent attempted Christmas Day terror attack. When the greatest generation faced adversity, they answered the call. Now is the time when all of us have to step forward as our parents and grandparents did years ago. Today, as I travel through Arkansas, visiting people, their main concerns are keeping their jobs, keeping their homes, their savings, and their retirement. They are also concerned about leaving a country for their children and grandchildren that offers the same opportunities and freedoms that our parents created for us. President Obama, Ms. Pelosi, and Senator Reid have the philosophy that we can grow government, borrow, spend, and tax our way to prosperity. We had hopes that they were getting the message from the elections in Virginia, New Jersey, and now Massachusetts, that this is not what our country needs and not what our country wants. But they haven't. While preaching fiscal responsibility, the Obama administration has proposed a budget that is shocking to almost every American. The $3.8 trillion of spending in 2011 is almost an unimaginable amount of money. Nearly half of that comes from borrowed money, being borrowed from people like the Chinese, the Saudi Arabians. There will be $2 trillion of tax hikes in the next 10 years and $14 trillion of added debt that will be inherited by our children and by our grandchildren. President Obama's budget is irresponsible, it's unsustainable, and instead of a job creator, it's a job killer. I think that the only way that we can get back on track in that regard is a balanced budget bill. And I've been an original co-sponsor on the bill to do just that, to follow in the footsteps of Arkansas, so that we must live within our means, just the way our businesses do, just the way that all people do. Also, instead of proposing common sense measures to help create jobs, the administration passed a nearly $1 trillion stimulus package a while ago. This package was not good for Arkansas, and almost everyone agrees that it has been a failure. I stepped forward and I voted no, because again, this is not a job creator, this is a job killer long term. President Obama, Ms. Pelosi, and Mr. Reid have also proposed that we do away with the secret ballot for union elections. This was not good for Arkansas, and again, I voted no. And when they fold to the union bosses and bring it back to the floor of Congress, I will vote no again. Because, again, this is not a job creator, this is a job killer. The so-called cap and trade legislation needs to be called cap and tax. The bill proposed by the administration will not only hurt working families, but it will hurt businesses, especially our heavy manufacturers in our state. Because we're a coal-fired state, this will double your utilities and increase gasoline by $1 a gallon. Cost will soar, making it harder for Arkansas manufacturers to compete with India and China. Arkansas jobs will go to China, a country that could care less about pollution controls, and as a result, we'll have a more polluted environment than ever. It's all pain and no gain. We need to protect the environment, but common sense says we must also use our heads and protect our economy. Again, I stepped forward and voted no. This is not a job creator, but a job killer. Recently, President Obama, Ms. Pelosi, and Mr. Reid tried to sell the American people a health care proposal that would cut Medicare by $500 billion, and in the process, increase the patient load by 30%. In other words, you're cutting the funding and you're adding more patients to the system. They insisted that that would not decrease the quality of care or increase taxes on seniors.